Okay, this first trick is as much keyboard tip as it is public service announcement. A lot of people don't know that they can switch off the keyboard noise, the tapping sound that you make when you enter text, this little sound, which you can probably just about hear there coming through my microphone. Now you can switch that sound off if it's irritating you, or more likely it's irritating people around you. So head over to your settings, and you'll see here in the sounds that right at the bottom you've got keyboard clicks, and at the moment it's switched on. Let's just switch that off by tapping on it. Go back to the Reminders app, and now you'll notice that that's completely silent. Now the next tip, we need to head into the settings to set up. Go into your settings app, go down to General, and then down a little bit, and you'll find keyboard there. Now let's have a quick look at keyboard settings, because they are quite useful to get to grips with. The first three here are fairly self-explanatory. Auto capitalization, let's switch that on. Most of these I suppose will be set on by default anyway. Auto correction, very useful. The little blue hovering suggestions that appear when you're typing, these will be automatically accepted if you leave that option on. Check spelling, fairly self-explanatory. Enable caps lock, yes, that's a useful feature. We'll come back to that. And this is the one we want to look at now, the full stop or period shortcut. As it says there, double tapping the space bar will insert a period followed by a space. So let's have a look at how that one works. Head over to, I've got the Notes app here. This is a sentence. Well, it isn't until I put a period at the end, a full stop at the end. So let's see that in action. You simply double tap the space bar, tap tap, and it inserts the full stop and the space. So that's a handy time-saving technique. Okay, very briefly, caps lock. We enabled caps lock in the settings previously, so let's have a look how that works. You can see the shift key at the moment. The arrow there is just a light grey. If we tap it once, that gives us initial caps, so that will just be one capital letter as normal behavior. But if you double tap it, you can see that the whole key turns a darker grey, and that will give us a caps lock, which will continue, of course, if you continue typing, so it stays even after you've finished the sentence. If you want to deactivate it, tap it one more time and it goes back to lowercase. Now you've probably noticed that the keyboard is context sensitive. In other words, it adapts to the information that you're typing, to where you're typing it, which app you're using, and so on. Now here I am in the Mail app. I'm about to start a new message, and I'm in the To field, and you'll notice at the bottom there that we have an @ sign that isn't usually in the keyboard, but because I'm about to type an email address and it knows that I am, it's inserted that, which is quite useful, and it saves having to tap a few times in order to get to the punctuation. Now you'll notice when I tap away, if I tap down into the content area, the @ will disappear. Let's do that. Now in order to avoid tapping multiple times to get punctuation, there is a very useful shortcut that's been around for a while. So for example, here I've got regards and I want to put a comma. Now all I need to do is tap and hold on the bottom left icon there, the 1, 2, 3 extension keyboard icon, and I haven't let go of my finger yet, so I'm going to drag over to the comma and let go, and you'll see that what's happened there is it's inserted the comma and returned me to the normal keyboard view. So I haven't had to tap 3 times to do that. I just tap and drag and let go. Much quicker. You can of course do that with any punctuation or numbers, so let's try it a few more times. Tap, there the keyboard appears, drag, open a bracket, enter some characters, tap, drag, close brackets, and so on and so on. You get the general idea. Very simple to use and a great time saver. Here I am in Mobile Safari. I want to enter a web address, so I tap in the area at the top. Keyboard slides up, so I'll type in a fake name just to get started. And now I want to enter .com. Now previously there were buttons at the bottom of the keyboard with .com and .co.uk and so on. Those seem to have vanished in iOS 7, but in fact they're not entirely gone. What you need to do is tap and hold on the full stop or the period key, and you'll see that there they are, they pop up as they have before, and you just need to keep holding and slide across to the one that you want. I'll take .com, let go, and it inserts it for you. While we're on the subject of tapping and dragging shortcuts, let's have a look at some more options. Now, special characters are one of those things that aren't immediately obvious. Here I want to type expose and I want to get the correct accent on the E. All I have to do is hold down on the E and you'll see that various options appear there. I can just drag across to get that accent and there it's done. There are various other options, so other letters that might have accents on will also have options. So let's have a look at a U, for example. There you go. Various U's, various O's, and so on and so on. Now, special punctuation, obviously when you go over to the punctuation keyboard, there's only a limited amount there, so let's have a look at some other options. Let's have a look at longer dashes, for example. I very much encourage people to avoid using the hyphen for when you need a dash, because there are dashes available. If you hold down on the hyphen, there you go, you see you've got two longer dashes, you've got an N dash, and you've got an M dash as well, which is the long dash that you would usually use in sentences. Let's have a look at currency. If you hold down on your local currency symbol, it's pounds here in the UK, hold down on that. There you have various other options. Okay, what about quote marks? Usually when you type on a quote mark, a single or a double, you'll just get a straight up and down quote mark. Now usually what you'd prefer to have is curly quote marks, so hold down on the single one and you see you've got an opening quote mark there. You can type some things, go back to the quote mark again, closing quote mark, there you go. You can do the same thing with double quotes. You may have been wondering how to get emoji and emoticon symbols on your keyboard. Well, to do that you need to set up a specific keyboard. Head on over to the keyboard app. Here we are in the app, and towards the bottom there you can see keyboards 1. Tap on that and you'll have one set up already, which will be your local keyboard. Now to add another keyboard or numerous keyboards, tap on the add new keyboard. You'll see various options, loads of international keyboards there. And under E you'll see emoji. Tap on that and it will add that keyboard in. So how do we actually use the symbols? Well, let's head over to the Notes app. Now you'll notice that there's a new symbol on the bottom left, the little globe icon. If you tap and hold on that, you'll see all the keyboards that you have activated are now available on that menu. Slide over to the emoji and the keyboard changes to the symbols view. Now the bar at the bottom, the grey and white bar, that gives you various tabs of symbols. So if you have a quick scroll through those, if you tap on them, see at the moment I'm on the smiley face, which gives us emoticons. The next one, emoji. The next one, various anniversary type symbols, occasions and so on. The next one, buildings, transport, etc. The next one, symbols. And on the panel above that you can actually scroll back and forth as well, and there's many screens of various symbols. But let me head back to the emoticons, the first one. Various little faces with exaggerated emotions in them. Let me insert one that I think is appropriate for my text above. There you go. We now have an emoticon in the text. Now this final tip isn't so much a keyboard trick as a general typing shortcut. Here we are in the keyboard settings. Scroll down to the bottom and you'll see shortcuts there and a curious entry, OMW on my way. Okay, what is this? Well, the easiest thing to do is just to demonstrate it. So the bit you have to remember is the OMW. That's a shortcut to expand to the text on my way. Let's head over to the Messages app. Here I have a new message. Let's try it out. And there you go. You'll see that much the same as the spelling suggestions and so on that pop up. The shortcut has expanded to on my way. Again, you just hit the space bar to accept that and it inserts that text for you. Now of course what you'll need to do is to set up your own shortcuts, so let's have a look at how that's done. Head back over to the keyboard settings and you'll see at the bottom there, add a new shortcut. Now here it'll ask you for the phrase. This is the full phrase that you'll need to enter. Now let me try something useful that will be useful in a email. Then underneath you'll enter the shortcut itself, and I'll just use something simple that doesn't come up so easily in normal typing. Then you click on save and you'll see that that's listed in shortcuts there. So let's head over to the email app just to see how that would actually work. Now instead of typing regards every time, let's just see, there you go. You type your shortcut in and the full phrase appears and you just hit the space bar to accept that. So I'm sure you can see how useful that will be. You can set up literally dozens of shortcuts to commonly used phrases that you can use in messages and emails and so on.